Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll Podcast. My name is Ryan.
And I survived another year.
Just about. We're about done. This is, honestly, I think last year we did this a lot earlier, didn't we?
I think so, yeah. I tend to not, I never, I'm like a shark. I never look back. I got no neck.
Right.
So.
So today, this is it. This is the end of the year. We are doing our third, crazy to say, a third year-end review.
Year-end review.
So listen, we said year-end the first day, and I have committed the first year, and I've looked it up, and either's fine. Yeah, and I'm sticking with it.
I'm gonna say a different one each time.
I think you said the same thing last year.
I wouldn't know because I don't look back. So
it's true, like a shark. So that's it. Today we're doing our year-end review. This is not an award show. This is not. We're not handing out accolades. We are literally just recapping, for the most part, the scores that we've already given out through the year. We have 5 metrics we'll go over during the course of the show for books, and 3 for zines. And before we get started, we'll talk about that a tiny bit. Books are what we consider something that's like larger. Generally, things that are like 30 or 40 pages or more. And we call zines, whether they're hardback or not, anything that's like 30, 40 pages or less is just how we have categorized and separated them. Zines having 3 metrics and books having 5. And we're going to go over all of that, as well as our personal top 5 favorites or top 3 favorites of the year, and a little recap of what we talked about, if we remember it. And then just, I guess at the end, just bullshit and talk about like what's coming in 2025.
Yeah, we'll talk about our goals for next year,
Goals for next year. We have them. So I'm going to kick over to do that. Thank you for everyone in chat. For those that might be watching on YouTube, we do stream on Twitch. So if you ever want to come hang out and chat with us, like we have these people with us right now, you can always come to our Twitch, same name, The Weekly Scroll. And we're going to get going. Here we go. The Weekly Scroll Year-End Review 2024.
Year-End Review.
Year-End Review 2024. It was a year. We did it.
Hey, we went to a con this year.
We went to not only did we go to a con, we worked a con.
Yeah.
Most of us did for most of it. But
I only missed a third of it, so
yeah, it's good. You got a sweet hat.
I did. I'm wearing it right now. So
yeah. For those that haven't heard us on previous episodes, we went to PAX U this year, and we actually worked the con for World Chant Game Co. Adam Vass was out of the country being fucking cool, and hit us up and said that we probably know their games better than pretty much anyone, and asked if we would do it, and we said hell yeah. And I think we fucking killed
hilarious.
It. Yeah.
Because like if you go back, if you've been listening since the beginning, you will know that on like the 6th episode I think we ever did, and maybe even before that, we were like, yeah, this is pretty much an Adam Vass stan podcast. So very funny that we
before we ever
really
known
manifested
Adam.
That
Yeah, we really did. It's funny because I was thinking about it earlier. We were recently on the Daiku podcast, and they asked how we maintained objectivity, especially with like Adam Vass, and I remembered we haven't really done a review of any of Adam's games since we've kind of become homies. All of our reviews we didn't do any this year. We didn't do a single Adam Vass game this year.
Did we review Cybermetal, like actually?
We did, but that was before we were talking with Adam. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how we maintain our objectivity. We don't review our friends' shit, and if we do, we're extra hard on them. And that's all we'll say about that. So year in review 2024. Before we get started, let's go to this fun slide where I have the recap of the year. The recap. So we did 28 game reviews, including zines and books. We did 28 interviews, which is way too many. We did 12 TWS plays, actual plays, which is just when we decide to play a game. It might be promoing a game or demoing a game, or someone just wants to run a one shot of a system. That's what our TWS plays are. And then we did 4 side quests. Side quests specifically are when we have reviewed a game already and really want to play it on stream, and then we play it in such a way where we explain the mechanics as we go, so you can kind of like learn how to play as you go. So if you watch the review and then watch the actual play, you can get a really good understanding of the game itself and how it's played. Not Cat Chats is with Jarrett Crater of Space Penguin Inc. It's when Jarrett comes on and we just tangent about the most random shit because all three of our ADHDs are so fucking bad.
Sometimes we talk about their upcoming releases, but also that's not the bulk of the conversation.
No, it is. I would say it's maybe a third or less, maybe a quarter of the conversation is actually talking about SPI releases. But definitely go check out Space Penguin Inc. And then the final thing, we had 4 special episodes. We had 2 liminal horror writing seminars. We had the Art by Nor flip through, and then we had the Marching Order launch party where we got to play Marching Order, but like talked a bunch with the gent at Crumbling Keep. Super fun. That's a lot. I feel like we did a lot.
Yeah, I think there's only 52 weeks in the year. And if we add all those numbers up on the screen, that's more than 52.
I want to now, but I'm not going to. But yeah, I think just the first 2 by themselves are more than 52. I don't
want to add it because I don't want to look at that number. But yeah, we did quite a bit. We had a very prolific year. I'm really looking forward to our next year of less interviews, more game reviews again.
Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about that more at the end of the show. We'll talk about but yes, we did do, I think, 36 last year. So we 8 less games this year. We definitely those are rookie numbers. We're gonna pump those numbers up. But let's get into the actual recap. You ready?
Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to start with the year in review for Zines. So as we said before, Zines are roughly 30 to 40 pages or less. We decided a while ago in one of our shakeups of how the game works to separate games from Zines, because comparing something that's like 15 pages with not a whole ton of art versus something with 400 pages and like a fat fucking art budget just didn't seem fair. So we switched up those metrics a little bit, and that's what we do. So when we review everything, we quantify our terrible opinions in specific metrics. And for Zines, we do visuals, rule set, and vibes. And we'll go over what each of those are when we get to them. And then the way this is going to work is we're going to give the top 3 scores that we've given out for each of those metrics, then the top score overall for the combined metrics, and then our individual top 3s. And then there are some honorable mentions in there, games that had, like if we gave out like 5 8s, right? We have to pick 3 for the top 3, and the other 2 that didn't quite make it are going to be honorable mentions, so we can mention everybody that at least got the score, and that's what we'll do for books too.
Very contentious this year, you know. Brian and I did a whole meeting where we just yelled at each other about which ones deserve to be on the top 3. So, you know, back our Patreon to find that secret episode.
Absolutely. Go do. Yeah. Good luck. Tell us if you find it. So first we'll start with visuals. So visuals for Zines is all the visuals. It is the layout, it is the cover, it is the style, it's the amount of art, it's the quantity of art, it's how the game physically it's the visuals, it's what you see with your fucking eyes. That is the visuals for Zines. And with Zines, sometimes that can be even more important than books because it's a smaller format, so having something that is visually striking can be a bonus for that. So coming in at number 3 on visuals, we have Obachan Panic. Here's the thing: is I have 3 different Acrobat setup, and I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea where this one's going to open in, and it's probably going to open in the one that I don't want it to. So let's see. Let's see what happens when I go to Zines and I open up
one instance open that has like 40 tabs. So
yep, there it went. All right, get out of there. So let's put you in here, and then I can do this.
Panic by Vincent Chang is a fun zine where you play as a grandma, a heroic grandma.
Yeah, grandmas and aunties. This is one of my we're not going to dig through every fucking thing we go through. Go watch the fucking episodes. What we should have wrote is the episode numbers that we did these on. That would have been helpful too. There's a search function in YouTube. If I can find it. If you don't do it once, you'll do it for all of them. Obachan Panic is one of my favorite PBTAs of all time. Obviously, if you know us, you know that we have a contentious relationship slightly with, or opinions, especially me, about PBTA. I'm not a fan of the scaffolding. I'm not a fan of basic moves, things like that. One of the things I love about Obachan Panic, not only is the insanely gorgeous, like, risograph design of it and the awesome grandma and auntie art, also, like, the stats, like, gossip that you get to do and things like that. But you literally save the worlds as grandmas. But there's this pre-game thing where you're supposed to, like, get together and actually, like, pretend to be, like, the role play starts when you get there with the tea party and, like, and all that kind of stuff. Like, you really get invested in being the grandma and stuff. My favorite thing about is the core move. It's do whatever, right? There are no basic moves. Basic move list out the fucking window. There's do whatever the fuck you want and then just use the standard PBTA mixed success table. That is the kind of PBTA that I like. I don't want all those fucking basic moves. Like, I think it's far too much scaffolding, and I think although it can have narrative mechanical parts, I think for me it funnels it too much. This is fucking perfect. That's why I love this game, on top of the fact that it's hysterical. You literally gossip so much you can panic. I mean, you have superpowers as grandmas. It's, when you go through all the lists and stuff, again, go watch the episode. It's such a
Episode
fun
136.
Episode 136. It's a really fun, interesting game. And we're big fans. Obachan Panic. My screen got weirdly small on that. Boom. That's number 3.
We did it.
We did it. Going to number 2 for visuals. A game you'll probably see a bunch throughout this entire thing. That would be In a Mirror Brightly.
An amazing game.
Amazing game. Tell us all about In a Mirror Brightly.
Yeah, In a Mirror Brightly, you play as everyday people that kind of awaken to this weird, expanded, like, world around them. That then they're then committed to like seeking the truth from. It's very heady. It's very interesting. I definitely have an idea for this game where you play as like a weird, like, you wake up and it's the Matrix, but it's also like commanded by Ultra Instinct Dark Brandon, and the reptile people are trying to vaccinate you to turn you into aliens type of thing. But yeah, you basically have a character you were put together as skills, abilities, and your previous life. Maybe you were a yoga teacher or an Instagram influencer, and you go investigate this secret world you've woken up to. It's a very interesting game. I really would love to play it. Have Aaron come on and play it. Aaron
King, Aaron motherfucking King, co-host of the RTFM podcast. This was a split book with Max Lander, the other co-host of RTFM podcast. Maybe you'll see that one at some point. Yeah, awesome game. Visually, it's absolutely stunning and fantastic. We're talking about visuals, so let's just focus on the visuals here.
I guess we are just talking about visuals.
The colors are insane. For those in podcast land, I highly recommend just go to fucking YouTube for this episode. Thanks for listening, though. It has this very vibrant green, yellows, and oranges throughout. It pops. The layout is simple, but like very spicy the whole way through. It's just really fun, interesting to look at, and just enjoyable to read as a game in its entirety. So Aaron King, In a Mirror Brightly, great episode. I believe that episode, I don't know what number it was.
They're all on the document now, actually. So you said if I did
episode
it for
154.
One of them,
you got to do it for all
of them. Yeah, so
it's episode 154, and actually I think the first half of that episode is actually talking with Aaron. So go check that one out. And then we have go away. Number 1 for visuals of the year is, it's the second half of this book. It's the flip side of this book. It is Handbaskets from Max Lander. Just a wonderful fucked up game. I
love this game.
Yeah.
I really love this game as like an idea for, so this project really came about as like an extension of Cyber Metal 2012, and definitely like has its own life and it became its own thing. But I love Handbaskets because it is about a like game TV show where people are like sleeved into bodies that they use to combat each other or go through scenarios. And I really love that, like, as part of the lore for Cybermetal. But visually, I really love how this book looks. It uses a lot of dark colors and the like very like high contrast like headers in the writing. It just looks beautiful. There's these page tearing. There's like actual photography. It's just kind of a joy to go through.
Yeah, it's got the stuff. Like you said,
It's got the stuff.
the photography mixed with the bright colors. The layout itself is really interesting. Like, it's never just two columns on a page. Every
Yeah.
single page is individually different. It definitely reminds me of Atom stuff, because I know both of these games were inspired by Cybermetal 2012, and it definitely reminds me of Cybermetal 2012. And obviously, it's a sideways book like Cybermetal 2012.
Yeah.
So it's great inspiration. But yeah, the colors, the pages, the photography, the layout, everything about this is what got it the visuals of the year for us. And yeah, so to recap that, for visuals for Zines this year, at number 3 we had Obachan Panic from Vincent Chang. At number 2 we had Inamir Brightly from Aaron King, and at number 1 we have Handbaskets from Max Lander. Yeah, that is visuals. Questions, concerns, issues.
Do we have our honorable mention there?
Oh yeah, we do. Honorable mentions. So, honorable mention is Advanced Dungeon Goons from Jacob Fleming on episode 145. A really, really fantastic Tunnel Goons hack. Tunnel Goons is one of my favorite games of all time. The cool thing about Advanced Dungeon Goons is that it basically makes Tunnel Goons kind of BX. It adds in a lot of the things that you get from more standard kind of like D20, like OSRE, fucking hate that word. Like D&D-ish, whatever. D20
Old
fucking adventure
school-y.
games, right? It's really fantastic. The art from Jacob Fleming all the way through is really, really neat. They're a fantastic artist. And if you actually go to their website and buy it from Gelatinous Cube, you get the book, you get a Rizzo printed adventure, and you get like 2 dice tossed in it too, in like a hanger bag that looks like you would take it off like one of those metal bars on the shelf. So really fantastic game. Wanted to make sure we gave that a shout out to. The art from Jacob throughout the entire thing is really, really, really great. And that came in, I believe. Yeah, it had the same scores. We just had to pick a top 3, and that's what we did.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
It is what it is. That's why they get an honorable mention. So it's really a top 4. But anyway, so moving on to the next thing. This is going to be Ruleset for Zine. So Ruleset is the fucking rules of the set, right? Like, it's just the rules of the game, and how we feel about them. If it's an adapted rule set, how well is it adapted? If it's a unique rule set, do we like it? Do we enjoy it? Do we think it works well? Do we think it reads well? And that is Ruleset. So
Also, I'm gonna preface this before we get through this whole episode. The top 3s are very consistent for all these things this year. Last year, I feel like there was more of an up and down, but this year, the things that were good were very good, and they floated very much to the top.
Yeah. So we're not going to have to talk about these as much sometimes because, damn, at number 3, guess what? That would be Inamir Brightly from Aaron motherfucking King for Ruleset. Again, like, you've already talked about
I think
some of the rules for this.
It's a cool D100 game. Like, I like the commitment stat as like a thing that you can lose over time. It's like you're less committed to the mission. I like the abilities and how genuinely odd they are and can be, and how narratively focused the game is. I mean, it is a pure narrative game. But I think even in one of the, it might not be in the book, it might be in the unreleased AR content, but I think there is an ability where you can just change the fiction. Like, you can just make up a reason why whatever I can't remember what the game master's called in this one. Whatever they say just doesn't work. I think it's a very interesting system for a really heady weirdo game. I'd love to have a table I could play this with.
Yeah. I mean, even the adjudicating roles table is such a fun thing. Rolls should happen when the following are true. The outcome is unclear. Success is interesting. Failure is interesting, right? Like all games should have. But if less than 3 are true, consider the following. So it literally gives you a whole table of, like, if none of those 3 are there are all these different options, and that's such a great way. One of the things about Ruleset is not just necessarily the rules, it's also how those rules are communicated, right? Because you can make a fantastic game, But if it's super fucking hard to parse and like you just bounce off the rules because of the rules language themselves, rules language is still part of the rule set, right? You have to actually read and understand the rules. So Aaron has always done a really, really fantastic job of writing rules language so it doesn't sound like a robot wrote it, right? But so you can understand, and has written things that I've seen a million times, but writes it in a little bit different way so that you understand it really easily. Like Patchwork World, for example. Like, I personally am not a fan of Apocalypse World, and I don't mind PBTA. Not Apocalypse World, yes, but Patchwork World from Aaron gave me a better understanding of how to play and run PBTA than Apocalypse World ever could. And is like a fantastic primer for that. And it's because of the way that they write the rules language. Makes it extremely approachable and extremely understandable. So that's part of the rule set as well. So that's part of that. So that's Inamara Brightly at number 3 for rule set in Zines. And then, oh man, looks like we have another one that's like, it's Advanced Dungeon Goons at number 2. Let me bring up Advanced Dungeon Goons. Advanced Dungeon Goons, Jacob Fleming, this is the second edition. It's a little shorter than the other one, but you'll see again why visually they got the scores that they did for that on the last one, because the Jacob Fleming art is fantastic. Like, look at this page. Look at that fucking wizard. Like, it's really great.
I love going through this book. I also love, it's a great hack. We played this at my table a couple times, and it was really very enjoyable. It's also really simple, you know?
It's so simple. Well, Tunnel Goons is so simple, but it's honestly one of the best games out there. And again, the cool thing that Advanced Dungeon Goons does is it really just adds another level to it for people that want just a little bit more crunch in their rules light games, because it's still a pretty rules light game. It's just more, right? So you get more magic stuff. You get expansions on combat. You get more monster stuff, and it's just, again, it's bringing a little bit of BX into Tunnel Goons, which is obviously a good thing. It's number 2 in the rule set for the entire year.
Yeah. I also think like Tunnel Goons is a great system that's like incredibly hackable, and it's fun to see people like paste their own ideas of games onto Tunnel Goons.
Mm-hmm.
Going for rule set number 1.
Number 1, surprising nobody. It's one of the top 3 again. This is gonna be Hand Baskets. So so I love these games just as much as you, but you are super deep in on Hand Baskets. So tell me why.
I mean, I think Hand Baskets for me, I think there's a lot of like fun to be had. It's another D100 that plays with that using omens and the Fallout rule, which is just kind of how fucked up situations can possibly be. But I just love the idea of like this game show that's on in Pentagram City, where like you go on maybe unwillingly and you get put into the body of a witch and you have to like solve puzzles before you die or kill your opponents. I think it really spoke to me, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and then when you go through to the language that's used, it's so fun. And like, so one of the default Fallout table, the number 1 is shit is fucked. Describe what happens to make you lose a reputation. And it's not just because there's curse words, even though obviously anyone that listens to the show knows we love those. But throughout, there's, again, it's not, the language is not sanitized at all. It's very true to the game and true to the vibe and you know, whatnot. And I really enjoy, I mean, ultraviolence, melodramatics, hacks. These are things that you can do, and it's just it's so much fun. It's so interesting. It hits all the right kind of edgelordy but fun and extremely intellectual parts that I really enjoy about games. So that is why Hand Baskets from Max Lander is number 1 in our rule set. So to recap, Inamara Brightly, number 3 from Aaron King, Advanced Dungeon Goons from Jacob Fleming at number 2. And number 1 is Hand Baskets from Max Lander. And I believe we do have a bunch of honorable mentions for this. So the rule set score that we had given out, I think we have more. No, that's in the books. There's like 4 8s in Ruleset. So, or 4 or more. So
we really liked a lot of stuff this year, you know.
well, I mean, here's the thing: is we don't do bad games, right? We don't
Right, yeah, it's
generally
hard.
pick games we don't like. And we were really excited about a lot of these, especially Handbaskets, Intimate Brightly, obviously Advanced Dungeons. But some of the other ones that definitely rose to the top for us that were really, really fantastic. One we've already talked about, Obachan Panic from Vincent Chang. Again, really great PBTA, playing superpowered grandmas and aunties. It's
a
fucking
fun
fantastic.
game, you know.
It's fun top to bottom, you know. Psychers, obviously that won't be the last time you see Psychers, but Psychers from Logan Dean, fantastic game. I know that you are a massive fan again, though obviously I am as well. It is just a really fun, like super focused one shot. It's very inspired by like Scanners, where like I always wanted to just play like Elfen Lied, like the beginning of the first episode of Elfen Lied, where I'm
I
like
still have
breaking
never
out.
seen Elfen Lied. This is to
Bro.
me, it's in Akira when they're like Kaneda is like, wait, no, is that Tetsuo? That's Tetsuo. Is escaping the facility and like blowing shit up. Like, I think this game is great, and I love the fact that like at any point in time you could just kill yourselves and everyone else around you, and the game's just over.
Yeah, it's great. Ruiner from Mark Conway, Blark, really fantastic game. This is one I wanted to play. It's just very neat, interesting. Like you're in this dream world, but like you go through, you have to like descend through ladders or ascend from ladder. Like it's just a trippy, fucking weird, crazy game. Like I'm almost sad that we didn't talk about it more. Like at no point did we really talk about this. I don't know what episode it was on. I believe you put it in here.
I might have missed that part. Hold on.
Episode 135. Yeah, you got that.
I did it. Yeah, I'm great.
I highly recommend it. This is one of the funnest, trippiest like rules light games I've read. It's just really fantastic and interesting, unique game. The maps in it are also really good. And then Nuked is a really fantastic knave hack. One of the best like hacks I have ever read, as far as like taking a thing and making it different and better and interesting. Nuked is one of them. I think this is a criminally underrated game. If I was playing anything post-apocalyptic, specifically dystopian, very Fallout-ish, this is exactly the game I would play. It's dope. I think a 2E of this would be insane. Really, like I said, incredibly underrated game. That's Nuked. And that is from Mac and Non-Dairy Giant. You can find that on episode 152. And then next, we have vibes. So the 3 metrics that we use for zines are visuals, rule set, and vibes. It's basically how it looks, the rules of the game, and how it makes you feel, right? Vibes really are just like when we close the thing, when we're done reading it, how bad do we want to fucking play this game? But on top of that, like really actually in the metrics, how much do the visuals tie into the rule set? How much does it all work together into one cohesive bit? Because you might have the greatest rule set ever, but if it's like black text on white page with no art, nothing, gives you nothing visually, vibes might not be super high, right? So this is a kind of a culmination of everything together and a massive desire to want to play the game when we get to the end of it. So once again, we got In a Mirror Brightly from Aaron motherfucking King. I don't know what else we can say about it except it fucks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It fucks.
They really the zines this year, they really dominated. Aaron and Max really dominated the zines.
Yeah. And it's great that you can buy it once and you get both games because it is a flip book, which is really fantastic. Number 2 for vibes is Handbaskets. Again, not much else to say. 2 games inspired by Cyber Metal 2012, both from the co-hosts of the Read the Fucking Manual podcast, both from amazing people, and both they slap. They're just really good, fucked up, interesting games, and they're really great. And then you're gonna see something crazy, right? This you'll actually get something different. We're going to number 1 is Vermhack. This is one we actually haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, so Vermhack is a really great medieval horror tactical rules light game. Like there are rules for like tactical combat, but it's just not very heavy. Actually, I love this one. I'm a big Vermhack guy. We've actually played it at my table a couple times. They actually updated the rules after we played it, and if you want our opinions on it, watch the episode.
Which episode is that again?
It's something, that's for sure. It's
144.
144. I wrote it somewhere.
This is Charlie Ferguson Avery. I mean, if you know anything that Charlie Ferguson Avery has done, everything they do is they just put out Ave Nox. They did Vast in the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
I have Into the Assassin Citadel, Into the Weird and Wild. I mean, their art is absolutely stunning. But doing the game design again, we talked about this. The vibes throughout, obviously the art helps a ton, but when you get to things like the gods and stuff like that, the Herb Flame, great. The Golden Thorn, like the miracles, like Salug the body and stuff. It's interesting that we gave vibes to a book that we just said you're not going to get vibes for things that are like 2-column black and white, but we absolutely did, because the lore put into this, the art put into it, everything about this. I know Mike's little fucking edgelord ass definitely loves the hell out of this one.
Yeah.
And something about it just like struck a chord for both of us. And I know at some point Charlie said that they were going to keep working on this, and there has been expanded content for this.
Yes,
I really hope eventually this gets like all the love that it deserves, gets like the Ave Nox treatment or something, because I really, really love this game. And obviously, again, the vibes are high for this. So
I was thinking about playing this again, running it again. I never get to play. Actually, no, that's true. As a game master, you're still playing a game. But I was thinking about running this again with the rules tweak that you suggested in the episode that we did. Which, once again, if you want to know what that is, you should check the episode out. I really want to pour more energy into this game. I do really like it.
It's fantastic. I mean, everything, even down to the font. And actually, so if you get the PDF, you don't get the cover that I have here. I crafted that in Canva because the cover that you get, I should have got the actual zine, is this gorgeous risograph cover, but the cover you get from the PDFs are all black and white. So I was like, fuck no, like I have to do it as close to the original as I can. So you can see how hard it slaps. And the risograph, the Rizzo cover for it hits so hard. Honestly, the cover by itself throws it for me. That the cover art is insane. And that's 5. So to recap, number 3, get you out of the way. Number 3, Inamir Brightly. Once again, Aaron King, Handbaskets, and then Vermhack from Charlie Ferguson Avery. I do believe we have 2 honorable mentions. Once again, scores that tied at least number 3 on the previous one, but for us, we had to pick a top 3. We've already talked about them a little bit. That is Obachan Panic and Psychers from Logan Dean. Again, obviously, you're going to see these a bunch. We only did, how many zines did we do this year? 11?
I don't have
I think it was 11
sheet pulled up, but I do think it was a really incredibly low number.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do more zines, more smaller games next year. But that's it as far as the 3 metrics we do for zines. We're doing good this year. We're not gonna have a 3-hour episode this year. I think we're chilling. So the next
don't call the game yet, buddy.
Yeah. The next is top 3 overall. So again, with our metrics, we give 10 points each. So the highest possible score is a 30. The lowest would be a 3. So each one can get up to 10. So for highest metrics, coming in at number 3 is Advanced Dungeon Goons with a 25. Once again, from Jacob Fleming. Yeah. Great game. Fantastic game. It's Tunnel Goons, but more. And the only thing better than Tunnel Goons is more Tunnel Goons. So Advanced Dungeon Goons is a really, really fantastic game. At number 2, also with the 25, is Inamir Brightly from Aaron King. Again, shocking fucking nobody. And then at number 1 this year with the 26 is Handbaskets. That's 26 out of 30. That means that Handbaskets got an 8, a 9, and a 9. I think it is the second highest zine score we might have ever given out. I still think number 1 is 9 Lives of Valhalla. It might be different. But
I love 9 Lives Valhalla. Yeah. It's so dumb.
It's
That's
so good.
highly rated.
I do want to say, We only gave 110 for the entire year for any metric, and that was Vermhack for vibes.
Oh, cool. I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. We only gave 110 in all of books too, so we only gave 2 10s for the entire year. But Vermhack with a 10 on vibes, I'm still completely okay with that. But top 3 overall, once again, we have number 3 with a score of a 25 is Advanced Dungeon Goons. Number 2 is Anywhere Brightly that got a 25 as well. And number 1 was Hand Baskets. And I don't know did we do honorable mentions? I don't think we did on these.
I don't think we did over. Oh, yeah, we did. Wait, no, we did not.
No, because I don't think 1, 2. No, that's the top 3. The next one is below a 25. Which would have been both Psychers and Vermhack. But they didn't make the top 3. So that is our top 3 for zines that we reviewed this year, 2 of which happen to be in the same fucking book. And then
Very
Advanced
funny.
Dungeon Goons from Jacob Fleming.
Listen, this is a good lesson to all creators out there. If you really want to dominate our top 3, really just put 2 books together.
Right.
Apparently that
2 games for the price of 1, right?
Yeah.
So the next thing we're gonna do is top 3s, baby.
Personal top 3.
Oh, I did do an honorable mention. Who else got a 25? Oh, Obachan Panic got a 25 as well. So that would be number 4.
Whoops.
Yeah. I was like, wait, top 3 overall. So honorable mention goes to Obachan Panic, one of my favorite PBTAs out there. It's great. Play some grandmas. I want to play this game so fucking bad.
It's super fun. Like, it is a blast. Like, I would love playing that. Someone should come on the show and run it.
I would listen. Anyone that actually likes running PBTAs, come on the show, and I swear to God, we're gonna dress as grandmas. I
will absolutely dress as a grandma.
Oh, hardcore. Well, the thing about it too, though, one thing that I love about it is like one of the pieces of art is just this like big buff dude, in an apron with like the mitts and stuff. Like, you don't have to
anyone
be like
can
a female
be an
grandma.
Obachan, okay?
That's what it says. It literally says something. Anyone can be a fucking Obachan. Like, it is non-gendered thing. Of course, I would want to RP as a grandma, or an auntie, but anyone can be an Obachan, and that's really great. So the next up, this is all you, buddy. What have we got going on?
Hunter's top 3. My personal top 3, starting from the bottom, number 3 is going to be Vermhack. Once again, Charles Ferguson Avery. What episode did we say this was?
141.
Episode 144. Yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I obviously, if you watch the show, you know that I'm very much about the lightweight, rules-light games. And this achieves that while adding some depth to combat that I think's not too heavy on the brain and a lot of fun. I don't know if I'm as big a fan of the new version of the rules, but I just ignore them. We played the old one. So, Moving on to my number 2 spot. Shocking no one. Number 2 for me is going to be Psychers by Logan Dean. I love this game. I love that it's like a self-contained bobble episode. Like, you absolutely could take this and run with it past like the initial escape sequence that's in here, but you really don't have to. And it's a complete game that's easy to understand. The powers are fun and over the top. I love this. Also, I think the presentation of it was really good, getting it with like the band around it and the pretty looking book. And my number 1 pick, probably the least shocking, is going to be Hand Baskets. I'm in love with the concept. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's another one of those things that it make a great one shot or a great addition to another game. And I think it just works incredibly well. So my overall top 3s, that's Hand Baskets at number 1, Psychers at 2, and Vermhack at 3. And that's my overall zines. We still got books, so
yeah. This is just zines. We're scratching the surface. We're almost halfway though. We're not even at the hour mark. We have
to go deeper.
We're so deep.
I have an honorable mention as well.
You do?
Which makes sense. Anywhere Brightly is my honorable mention. It's probably tied for my 3rd spot. I really do love it, and I really do love the heady nature. I think the only thing that drops off for me in this is I just always come from a point of view of running the game, and I would find running this challenging, not because the rules are challenging, because the headspace I would be in to run this is different from my usual headspace, but I still really love it.
It's funny because the entire concept of honorable mentions throughout this entire episode literally happened because I think neither of us wanted to pick just a top 3 for our
Yeah.
personal top 3s, because I think the 4 that we picked, we were so like, I know my 3 and 4 were, I literally was just going to cheat and just say 2 of them, and then we decided to do the honorable mentions bit because there were times where we gave out like 5 or 6 8s, right? So we wanted to mention the ones that got a good enough score but didn't quite make it to the ones that we had to choose from. So that's why. And you'll see the same thing with mine. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's my top 3. This is what we're doing next. Ryan's top 3. So coming in at number 3, I honestly don't remember. Coming in at number 3 is In a Mirror Brightly, from Aaron King. Again, shocking nobody. It's great. It's a good fucking game. At the end of the day, it's a good fucking game. It's really enjoyable. The language in it throughout is really great. Everything, like, again, Aaron's a great game writer. Buy all the things. Go listen to the RTFM podcast. It's good. It's great. For number 2 is Hand Baskets from Max Lander. Everything that Hunter said before and everything I just said about Aaron, you could say the same thing about Max. They're wonderful. The game is wonderful. It's dark. It's fucked up. It's funny. Even the cover with like the people like jumping through fire is really, really great. And number 1 for me is Vermhack. It's just, it's edgy, and I'm a fucking piece of shit edgelord garbage human, and I will be forever. And the art got me, and the fonts got me. The fantasy wargaming of Dungeons and Decrepitude got me. It just hits me right in that dark spot, you know.
I am a little surprised it got your number 1 spot. I did not see that coming. So I do. Yeah, the thing too, though, is that it definitely does lend itself a little bit wargamey, right? And for some reason lately, it is.
I've just been really leaning into like skirmish games a little bit more and things like that, and it just, the cover, the art, like, I don't know. It's just something about it. I don't know what it is. Something about it really, really tweaked me in the right way. And also the style of game it is the style of game that I would want to write. You know what I mean? Like,
that is very true. It's very,
if I was making a game, it would not be anything close to as good as Aaron's and Max's, because of the headspace they write from. But Vermhack is a game that I feel that, not that I could write, but has the vibes of the game that I would think about making, right? It hits all the points that I would want to hit. And something about it just gets me. And the cover just goes hard. And then, so In a Mirror Brightly, number 3 for me. Number 2 is Handbaskets. Number 1 is Vermhack. And then my honorable mentions, 2 of them, are, because I decided to do all as many as I fucking want. Psychers, again, from Logan Dean. Insane game. I know you said you could continue with the campaign. I love that it's just a one-shot game. I love that it literally is just a self-contained experience. Sure. And I think that's really, I wish more zines did that. Like, it is a self-contained experience. You can have that, you can make different adventures for it and just have that experience again. But I really enjoy the expansion also of the company. Wuhan Baxter and everything like is really, really great. Everything that Logan Dean does is great. Definitely go check out all their stuff and check out the company, which is another insanely. We reviewed the company last year, right? That's why we didn't have it on here. But it's just such a fun, great game. Again, I struggled really hard not putting this in my top 3, and then when we did honor mentions, I was like, fuck it. But then Nuked. I know I talked about this a little bit before. And it only made it onto, I think, an honorable mention before, but honestly, Nuked is such an insanely fucking good game. I'm definitely a big mechanics guy. I love digging deep in the mechanics, and Nuke definitely takes Knave and makes it better and more interesting and adds a lot of really, really amazing parts. It's one of the better hacks I've ever read mechanically, on top of, I mean, post-apocalypse dystopia might not be my preferred genre.
It is a weird space for you.
But the system that they write is so fucking good. It's just an incredibly, incredibly good game. And again, one of the better, more complete, more interesting, well-developed hacks I've ever read. It's a really fantastic game.
Hell yeah.
And that is Zines.
We did Zines.
Boom. We did Zines. So we're moving on to books. So books is a little bit different. We have 5 different metrics for books. To give you a quick preview of those are, again, they can get 10 points each, which would max out at 50 points again. And that is art and layout, usability, rule set, originality, and value. Those are the original. Well, so that is, I think that's the third iteration of our rules.
Mhm.
And we've stuck with them for about a year and a half now, more than all the rest combined. So I think we're pretty good on that. And then we later came up with the zine metrics. I think one year, I think our first year we didn't have zines in the review at all because we went over zines, but we never gave them scores because again, we didn't feel like it's fair. But then we did a re-review episode where we scored them later, so they did eventually get scores.
We're always growing here at the Weekly Scroll. We're
trying to grow and evolve, and we're going to start that with our book review for the year. So we're going to start with art and layout. So what the fuck is art and layout, right? Art and layout, and this is visually, right? It's the quality of art, it's a quantity of art, it's how well that art is used, because a book can be fantastic and have one piece of art in it. It really just depends on if it's appropriate for the game. And then the layout, we're talking about visually the layout. So we're talking about like font choices and like and margins, you know what I mean? Like how it visibly looks when you read the layout and enjoy it, right? So coming in at number 5 for art and layout, we have Heroes of Cerulean. Heroes of Cerulean is a fun, interesting game. This is, I think we did this game and Forgotten Ballad back to back, right? We did like the kind of Zelda hack kind of games back to back. And let me bring up Heroes of Cerulean, make sure I'm in the right screen. Open, you goddamn piece of shit. There it goes. So Heroes of Cerulean, gorgeous game, but like we're looking at the PDF for it. I wish I could easily grab the non-PDF because when I backed this on Kickstarter, I actually got the gold edition. So the book itself, for those in podcast land, book itself looks like a Nintendo cartridge. It has like
a gold one though, right?
Oh yeah, the gold one is in a gold like slipcase and everything. But the book, and it's not just drawn on, it's actually like embossed into the book itself, where the sticker is a sticker, like it feels like a game cartridge. And then the gold one is a gold game cartridge in a gold slipcase, right? And when you go through it, it's very much pixel art. It's beautiful pixel art, but it's also like color coded. It's all these vibrant, primary colors. Obviously, it's the Triforce, but not symbol all the way through. But as you go through, the pixel art is just
Triforce,
right? The pixel art is just absolutely stunning. The layout of the pages is first of all extremely readable, but I love the little side boxes that they do, the punch outs, the little every little piece, even just the bullets as the pixelated arrows and things like that. It's just a beautiful, gorgeous book to read through. It's incredibly legible and readable all the way through. It's pretty, and the art is great, and it's full of it too. I mean, it is jam-packed, especially when you get down to like the monster manual. Every freaking monster basically has their own little piece of pixel art. So it's stunning all the way through. It's gorgeous. Again, it's color-coded by page color. The art's amazing. Everything about it is gorgeous. The layout is fantastic, and there's not much else to say about it.
Beautiful game.
That's Heroes of Cerulean.
Moving on to number 4 is going to be Perils and Princesses. A fun game of playing as the not damsel in distress.
Yeah, the damsel not in distress.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. The princess that can save themselves. You know. I can't tell you how much I love this game. It's really interesting.
I really love this one. I think it's really good. It's not that I don't love it, but this is very much a Ryan game.
Yeah. Well, so the core rules themselves can be thrown into any OSR game, right? Like they're, first of all, the rules, and we'll get to the rules about them later. They're great, but then they make it princesses, and it's fantastic. But art wise, the actual art pieces, like drawn art for the whole thing, are absolutely stunning. They're gorgeous art. There's so much of it. But on top of that, there's a bunch of beautiful spreads. One thing that I wish more games did, zines might do a little bit more than books do, but they do a lot of text wrapping around the art. So it's not just art, like art on top and then a big white part on the bottom and a piece stuck in. So looking at page 6, for example, they actually have the piece on the page and the text wrap around it. And I don't think enough games do that. And it really helps with that. And then the actual separators between chapters are really gorgeous, and the entire thing has this very soft brown, pink, white color scheme that for some reason, I don't know, it just gets me. But the art all the way through is stunning. The layout is incredibly legible all the way through. It's really good. One of my favorite pieces, period, is, and we talked about this, there's this one piece with the giant spider stat block. The stat block's like this big, and then the art is, 3/4 of the page, but it shows a princess all wrapped up in webbings, and it's wrapped up to the top of the page and stuff, but she is determined, and she has this sword in her hand, and the spider coming at her from this really interesting angle. And I don't know, something about that just really set me off for really enjoying the art. So a really fantastic game. This is from Ryan Lynch. I don't think we said here's this really is Blackfish Publishing. That's on episode 166. Perils and Princesses is from Ryan Lynch, and that's on episode 165. It slaps, and it's gorgeous, and the art is really, really, really beautiful. Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah, tell us about number 3.
Number 3 is motherfucking Torque by His Holiness Will Yobst. A fantastic rally raid game. This is rally raid, yeah. I think rally racing, but rally raid game where you play as people living on the hard road. This game is visually a joy to go through. It is definitely one of my favorite visuals of the year. It's just it's like a class in like how to properly do like interesting layout all the way through and to work in photography and art pieces. It's so visually dynamic. Every single like spread you go through is just a joy to read.
No, the livery page where it's all the different things I could look at,
just
but it's
painted out. Yeah.
So many of the pages have such an interesting. Just not only are there great illustrations, but the graphic design and the use of graphic design as art throughout. This is one thing that we've talked about numerous times, and this is why you could have a beautiful book that gets a high art score without a single piece of art, because it's not just art, it's also the graphic design and layout. If you use colors and backgrounds and fonts and things like that, you can make a stunningly gorgeous book. And there's plenty of spreads in here that look absolutely gorgeous that don't have a piece of art, or that have like a clip art of like real photography. And like you said, this is a lesson in how to do that well. The only thing I want is fucking Pages version, because it's a wide book that only exists in spread. So it's a double wide PDF for anyone watching the screen. That's why you see it like this.
Yeah,
it's so fucking wide.
I will say another thing about this that I love, and this is like the last note, is just that there is a way that it guides your eye through each page using the art and layout that I think is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really great.
It's fine.
Yeah. And that is again Will Yobst, and that is on episode 171. Definitely go check out that. You can check out some other stuff from what they do over there as well, and because all their stuff is great. So go do that. Number 2. What do we got? What do we got at number 2?
Number 2, the Gerb.
Ooh, the Gerb. The Job from Andre Navoa. Such a great fucking game. I'm not a heist fan. I don't like heist games.
Oh, I am.
You are, which is interesting. Because I feel like I love this game like even more than you, and I don't even like heists. Yeah. But the Job is really fantastic. First of all, the art is great. It definitely has this. I don't even know how to describe it. It's very 70s. It's very 70s. I don't know. It really pulls back like the 70s. All those movies that we saw in the early 2000s that were just remakes of spy and heist movies from like the 70s. It goes back to the 70s and bring that in.
Ocean's 11.
Yeah. But the graphic design is Guillermo Gontijo, and obviously if you say that name, you know it's gonna fuck, and this game fucks super hard visually. It's absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous all the way through. It's got a white background, but then it has these pops of yellow and red that go all the way through. Great use of clip art photography. When you get down to some of the later pages, where you're actually going through the adventures, but they turn them into movie posters. Insane, just insanely beautiful, gorgeous all the way through. But once again, the layout is incredibly legible, incredibly readable, looks beautiful all the way through. It never gets in its own way, and it's just a joy to read through. It's a joy to visually process. And this won't be the last time you see this, so we'll probably talk about the rules a little bit later. And that is The Job, Andre Naveau, page 125 from Games Omnivorous. And then number 1, Last Sabbath.
Oh, yeah. A great witchy game about you and your coven overcoming issues, turmoil, and just beautiful all the way through.
Yeah. It is. This is another one that only exists in spreads. But so first of all, the layout, stunning, great, beautiful. The use of the gray boxes separating like the white text, the headers to all the pages, the writing on it when there's like notes that need to be done. I really love how they separate that out. But the artist, I believe her name is Loputin, Loputyn. My God. Insane art all the way through, and that's one of the reasons this got the art and layout tour. Every single page has beautiful, stunning illustrations. They're, I mean, witchy, a lot of wolves or foxes. Gorgeous. And when I backed the Kickstarter, you could get their art book too, and of course I got that, and of course it's stunning. It's just. I don't think anything else could have surpassed the art style that is used freely every single page throughout this book, on top of the fact that the layout is visually interesting, stunning, easy to read. It's just it just slaps. It's just such a gorgeous book. On top of that, we'll talk about the rule set probably a little bit later, I believe. But if you like witchy stuff and just stunning art, honestly, just get it for that. But then play the fun game that comes with it. But that is Last Sabbath. That is from Atropo, Clevra, and Valentino Sergei. Butchered that. I'm sorry. Again, the art is by Loputyn, Loputyn. It's episode 151. Check that out. Stunningly gorgeous witchy game. Highly recommend. Really great. We actually met the people that published this at PAX. They were catty corner to us. Super nice. They were really great. So that is Last Sabbath. That is the end of our art and layout. So to recap, at number 5, we have Heroes of Cerulean from Blackfish Publishing. Number 4, we have Perils and Princesses from Ryan Lynch. Number 3, we have Torque from Will Yobst. Number 2, we have The Job from Andre Naveau of Games Omnivorous. And number 1, we have Last Sabbath from Atropo, Clevra, and Valentino Sergei with art by Loputyn. Fantastic, gorgeous, beautiful. I don't believe we have any honorable mentions because, again, honorable mentions are just if the final score is at least the same as number 5, we'll talk about those. But these were above and beyond. And that's what we had for art and layout. Next up, usability. I do think that you see some stuff multiple times on this, but we have a bigger spread, I think, in books than we did in zines.
I mean, you're right. I mean, we did more books than we did zines, but I do also think there's a lot of there's gonna be a lot of repeat customers in this. You know?
There definitely will be. So, going with usability, might have just seen this one. It is Last Sabbath. One thing that we really loved about this as far as the usability goes is the first of all, it's bookmarked, it's hyperlinked, all the things that we at minimum expect, right? But the actual so table of contents are hyperlinked, everything. Actually going through the book, they do an insane job of explaining important parts. So for example, when you go to turns on page 12, they literally give you a round by round specific example of going through the book. This is a game that it's a very narrative game. It's not, OSR, it's not PBTA.
It's essentially like a journaling game, just a group journaling game.
Yeah, basically, yeah, because you literally do like write in a journal and pass it around, which it can, if it's not what people normally play, might be difficult to parse, but honestly, reading through the first time, they make it so easy to understand, and that also really helps with usability. But on top of that, all the tools you need are part of the book as well. So all of the divination stuff is in the back, all of the, like, any aspects of the book that you need. And on top of that, there's actually a second game book, the Grimoire, that has more tools that you can use as well. So that is one reason it got the usability score. Again, it has all the hyperlinks we expect, but the book itself is incredibly user friendly, which is really nice. That's not what you want to see. Coming in at number 4, Cloud
Number
Empress.
4.
Tell us about Cloud Empress.
I fucking love Cloud Empress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an incredibly usable book. I mean, it's really nice that when this was released, that the Land of Cicadas book, which is the lore, is a separate book, while this, the rule book, is its own book. So it's less intermixed than it needed to be, which is good. It's hyperlinked, it's bookmarked. It also is just kind of in an order that really makes sense as you go through the book.
Yep. Character creation pages, like in the beginning, are really great. Just I think there was some other stuff that we might be forgetting in the course of this one, but it's just, again, extremely usable, which helps with the usability. And if you want to read more or listen to more about that, that is Cloud Empress from Watt. That is on episode 131. But just search Cloud Empress and you'll see Watt's been on numerous times.
Yeah.
We have done actual plays of this. We reviewed it. You might see Watt again sometime soon here on the show. And yeah, it's a fun, great game. It's one of the best mothership hacks out there.
Yeah.
And definitely takes the system in a different direction, which is really fun and interesting.
I can't wait to run this. So
bro, I mean, I'm so glad we've got to play it multiple times.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. We got to play with Watt running it, and then we got to play an adventure written by Samantha Lee, which is really fantastic. So super fun, great, awesome. Number 3, Perils and Princesses. So again, I love the shit out of this game. And one of the reasons it gets, obviously it's got all the things that you want, right? From, again, to be in the top 5, I can't imagine that we'd ever pick one that wasn't bookmarked, hyperlinked, like all of those things, right?
Yeah.
But the cool thing about Perils and Princesses that I really love as far as usability goes is when you get the PDF, you get so much more than, or when you get the game, you get so much more. So there is an entire quick start, right? There is form fillable character sheets. All this stuff adds to value later, but as far as usability, it gives you a lot of tools to get up and going with the game, like pre-gens, the form fillable character sheets, all of the things that actually make it easy to play the game, on top of the fact that the rules are incredibly well explained, etc., everything you need from usability. Number 2, Heroes of Cerulean.
Backed by popular demand. I think what really sets this one apart is the color coordination of the chapters. Like, I think that really adds to the usability a lot. Like, if X chapter is red, that you just need to turn to the red pages, you can find yourself in the chapter. I think they really push this one up.
Yeah, I really love it. Like, so you go to the table of content, introduction's yellow, rules are blue, heroes are green, right? So you click the rules and you realize it's not just that all of the bars and things are blue, the pages are actually a light blue. So as Hunter said, like, you can easily just flip to, you can be like, oh, like, I'll just flip somewhere in blue and I'm in the rules section, right? It's really fantastic. On top of bookmarks, hyperlinks, character sheets, everything that you need to make it super usable is there, and it's good. It's good.
It's good.
And then number 1, motherfucking Eco-Mofos. Tell me all about Eco-Mofos.
So this one has everything all the other ones did, right? But I think another thing that pushes this one above is that instead of full colored page sections, there are colored tabs on the end of each page. But if you actually have the physical, it's hard to see here, but you can visually see on the book where those colored tabs are for each section, and you can immediately flip to them, which I really love. It also does come with several bookmarks and a ribbon, which really added to the usability of the book, because you can mark like 5 pages out initially, like immediately.
Yeah. One of the things that really bumped this over the top too is I don't know how many people got this version. You didn't get that version, did you?
The Spiral Notebook?
The spiral bound version.
Did I?
My goodness. So that's one thing that there are so many different versions of this game when you could get it. And one of the ones was a spiral bound version. And I wish more games also put out a spiral bound version, because actually being able to use it at the table that you can literally just flip to and put it down. You don't need to worry about keeping the book open. You don't need to do anything. It's a gorgeous version of the game. And honestly, for table usability, that was such a big thing on top of color coding, on top of everything else. But the other thing too is that I believe, if I remember correctly, there is, so the PDF is also hyperlinked in a fun way where, so for example, all the basic stuff is orange, right? And as Hunter said, there's an orange tab on the side of the page, which when viewed from the side, tabs, like, it gives you a visual of where that is in the book. But in the PDF, if you click that colored tab, it takes you back to the table of contents, which is so big. I wish more games would just let you go back to the table of contents.
Yeah, it's really cool to play that games hyperlink the chapters to go to a page, but what's really sets it above is when there's another button on that page that sends me back to the table of contents. Like that's insanely convenient, especially in a digital age where you might be running this on a digital platform. Yeah.
For usability, this got a pretty fucking high score, I think. We gave it 9. Here's Cerulean and that both got a 9. It's the closest thing we're ever going to give to a 10, which will always be the Numinous edition of Troika, because it does all of this stuff. But on top of that, not only does it give you a link back to the table of contents, one like on the odd pages, for example, it takes you back to the table of contents, but the even pages take you back to just the beginning of that chapter.
Yeah, so that was pretty strong.
On top of being color coded and color coded pages, on top of everything else. So this is about as close as you can get. Ecomorphos specifically, I know that this is from David Blandy and Daniel Locke. This is on episode 173. Two amazing people, an amazing game, but I know they very specifically thought about the usability of the game they were making it, and that's very, very evident in the way that they did the tabs and the color coding and the linking and everything. And goddamn, we appreciate it. So good fucking job. Top 5. That is going to be at number 5. That is Last Sabbath. Number 4, that is Cloud Empress. Number 3, that is Perils and Princesses. At number 2, that is Heroes of Cerulean. And at number 1, that is Ecomorphos. It's good. That's a good spread of fucking games right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Ruleset. So for the people that actually care about quote unquote games, not product, because we are as much a product review podcast and pedantic dev editors as we are game reviewers, these are the rule sets of the game. So these are the highest scoring rules we gave out for the entire year. Coming in at number 5, we have that would be Perils and Princesses. So I love this game.
You do.
I love this game. One thing that I love about it is in the post OSR. That's what I'm just going to start saying from now on. In the post OSR, this is such a fucking good game. We are in the post OSR. The OSR died in 2019. It's an incredibly fun, interesting, light, good system. Anyone that has ever played any tabletop game or haven't played any game at all, it's extremely approachable. It reminds me of Mouser in that way. And honestly, Perils and Princesses is easily in my top 3 to 5, probably my top 3 games for people that have never played a TTRPG. I would have them play a game like this. I think that not only are the rules themselves incredibly good, fun, and interesting, but I think the setting also, Perils, you're playing as princesses and like great for, I mean, and again, it says in here, there's a whole page that says like dudes can be princesses too, and if you're too insecure, call it lords or whatever the fuck you want. but just I honestly want to. I've thought of and had it in my eBay cart about getting. You remember Pretty Princess, like the game where you had like the little you spin the thing and there's like princess. So I had two sisters, right?
No, I don't.
There's a game where you dress up as princesses. I wanted to buy that, mail the different colored jewelry sets to like you and Josh and stuff, and have us all wear our pretty princess colors and then play Perils and Princesses. It's incredibly fun.
I've never seen this before. No.
Yeah, again, I had two sisters. It's incredibly fun, interesting, great game that I think is fantastic for both people that have played a billion games and for people that have never played a game before. Again, this is probably in my top 3 to 5. This is easily in my top 5 games that I would use for new players. It's just well done. And it is a brutal kind of like hard OSR, post OSR game, on top of being interesting because it's princesses and shit. So I love it. It's really great. Again, Ryan Lynch, that is on episode 165. At number 4, Heroes of Cerulean. We had like a month where we did like 2 Zelda games and a princess game, and we had like very fantasy, kind of like high fantasy.
Yeah, somehow those are all tied together. In chat, if you could figure out how, that'd be great for us.
I don't understand how you don't understand how like Zelda and princesses aren't tied. There's literally princesses in Zelda. Isn't one of them like the princess? Yeah, exactly.
There's one. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
But Legend of Zelda is more about playing as, well, actually a new one's coming out where you get to play as Zelda, but you know, you're Link in those games. So
I'm just saying there is a link. I would say that Princess in Perils is closer to Heroes of Cerulean than Heroes of Cerulean is like Mothership, right?
Well, Princess in Perils is very much like a folk tale game, kind of like a fairy tale game, less of a video game.
I'm saying it's still very much in that fantasy realm. Regardless, who gives a shit? You're just a Zelda fanboy. Heroes of Cerulean. So Heroes of Cerulean is interesting because it's a D4 system. And my dumbass, and I think your dumbass too, when we were reviewing this, we're like, this is really cool, but I don't understand why we use D4s. And then I believe the creator was in chat and was like, oh, well, because the legally distinct Triforce is like a pyramid. Like it's a triangle and a D4 is a triangle, so why wouldn't you use it? And then I was like, oh my god, that's so fucking perfect. That actually makes it 10 times better. Because I was like, I wonder if you could hack this into D6s. And then I was like, no, I would never do that because the D4 makes sense. But it's just a fun, again, very similar to Perils and Princesses and all the reasons we said before. It's a really fun, interesting game. It's very approachable, but very fun. It's the kind of game that you can play simply or can play with depth. And that is another thing that I like about Perils and Princesses.
I also like, it's a cool mixed success system, which, inherently leans towards you always having at least a partial success, which I think in like a more heroic video game thing makes a lot of sense. But yeah, and it is overall like very simple and run like a video game, and that's definitely the strength of it. And it is strong for that.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, like not only does it run like a video game, like it emulates a lot of video game stuff purposely into the rules, which is really, really fantastic. And it's just, I don't know, it's fun. Again, this, I think I said the same thing, which is interesting that I believe this episode was right before or after. It was the episode after Perils and Princesses. Yeah. That this also easily jumped into my top 5 games that I would use for new players. Like this is such a fun approach.
I super agree.
So many people are like you and are Zelda fanboys, and so many people also grew up with Nintendo, Super Nintendo, GameCube, whatever. They're like the pixel art, the vibes, and everything would really draw people in. And then the system itself is really relatively straightforward but also super easy to learn. So super fun. This is a game that I'm shocked we haven't played yet, but I would love to do a side quest of in 2025. Next up, Macchiato Monsters. This is the game that we have not talked about yet at all.
Yeah. This is another Ryan game,
Yeah, it very much is. So Macchiato Monsters is this is from Eric Newton, printed by Lost Pages. You can find this one on episode 162. So we did the Black Hack. I think our biggest issue with the Black Hack wasn't necessarily the game, it was the presentation. I think that I actually did get a hold of the Black Hack zine, the original one, 1E. I personally love it a million times better than 2E. 2E tacked on a whole bunch of stuff that was unnecessary. I think a lot of
written in such a way that was like, it was written in a way that you really understand it if you had read the previous version,
Oh no, that was White Hack, I think.
That was White Hack. Oh, right. That was White Hack. Sorry.
So Black Hack, I love the Black Hack games
Black
and the
Hack.
system. A lot of it was the communication. A lot of it was the layout. Like, so when something was bolded, it was bolded every time. So half the fucking game was bolded. Regardless, we were like, I like this system, but I personally thought that 2E had a lot of flaws as a product. White Hack, my God, I don't even know if I like this system because it's so hard to parse and it's so user friendly. And what's funny is when we posted that episode, a bunch of people were like, hey, actually, totally get that. If you've never played White Hack before, this is not the edition to get into or whatever. But what Macchiato Monsters does is it mixes White Hack and Black Hack together into, apparently, macchiato, which they explain at some point. It's like dark and light because it's coffee and a thing, and then they use coffee throughout this whole thing. I wish they would have just called it the Gray Hack and called it a day, but it is cute. I think
that they called it the Coffee Hack and really leaned in. You know,
but it is, again, visually throughout the thing, they really lean into the coffee thing. Every monster is drinking coffee. Like, there's coffee stains on everything. So if you're going to do that, I'm glad that they just said, fuck it, we're going all in on it. But it's just a great fucking game. It takes all of the best parts of Black Hack and all of the parts that I understand from White Hack. Listen, I understand the fucking game. I don't need you to explain to me the fucking game. I got it. I just didn't need to parse it into my own outline version in Google Docs for 4 hours just to get what the fuck they're saying.
It is really funny, and then like there were a couple comments of people trying to explain stuff to us, and it's like, dude, this is like the 200th game we've read. We read plenty of games, and like we at the end, I went in with like, fuck, I don't know how to play this game at all, and you were like, oh, I don't worry, I parsed it out to my own thing. Yeah, and by the end, I also understand it.
Yeah, but I literally sent you a Google Doc outline of like the entire fucking book. And here's the thing, I shouldn't have to write a Google Doc outline of an entire book just to understand a fucking game. Anyway.
We're just going in on White Hack now. Also, other people have written outlines for it too, which was even funnier.
Yeah, that's half the way that we understood it, is because we got other people's like quick versions because it made sense. Regardless, we're talking about Macchiato Monsters, which is a great fucking game. It takes all of the parts of Black Hack that are great, all the parts of White Hack that are great. It makes, again, one of the better hacks that I've read. We talked about a couple today, like Nuked. This is fantastic. The system itself is beautiful, elegant, interesting all the way through. It is communicated well all the way through. It's just a fun, great game. If you like either of those systems, definitely check out Macchiato Monsters. This is a game that I feel like is extraordinarily underrated. This to me feels like one of those, like, it's your favorite designer's favorite game kind of thing. Like the number of people I know that know Macchiato Monsters, but then I've not heard it talked about nearly enough. It's criminal. It's criminal. Macchiato Monsters is a great, insanely good fucking game. More people should read it, and more people should play it. Another game that I want to play sooner than later. Number 2. Tell me about number 2.
Oh, number 2, dude. Number 2 is Torque, which I love. Torque is obviously by me being so excited about it earlier. Torque is a great game with a lot of interesting mechanics. It's not quite a board game. It's not a board game. There is, in fact, a board because you are running on the road. There are things to dodge. There are mechanics for... Let me pull up Torque, actually. I closed it. Why would I do it to myself?
Many tabs, dude. So many tabs.
I know, so many open right now. But I think the mechanics for being a car are incredibly smooth and fun. I think the way that you build your car as you go and you get your abilities create really interesting interactions when you finally get onto the board and you're interacting with other enemy cars as well as like obstacles on the board, because you can like affect where people are and where you are, both friend and enemy cars. It's just as a ton of fun. It's very clever.
Yeah, it's so fucking clever. Like, it's too fucking clever. Like, Will Yelps is too fucking good at this. Like you said, the road part, honestly, is just, obviously, it is kind of like 2 games in one a little bit. And then you do get the mat. Like, I know when I got mine, I got, where is it? Probably on the floor. But I actually got like a cloth mat.
I actually don't have the physical of this game, so.
Really? You should get it.
Yeah. Which is funny because I love this game. So
check out Good Luck Press and go get this. But the road mechanics and when we really sat and parsed through that on the episode and really like again, it's one of those things that you could do. The more you play it, the more the tactics are insane.
There is a depth to it that you can find.
Just an insane amount of depth to just like 9 squares on a board, and how that is just like basically like a side scroller game. And it blew my mind. It's just so good. It's so good. On top of the incredibly fun like world and narrative aspects of the system that you get to play as well. Oh, too good at this. And number one, I honestly didn't remember. The Job. The Job from Andre Novoa at Games Omnivorous. Again, so we talked about this previously, and it is now our number one game. One of the things that I love, and it alludes to it on the back cover, is the dice stack. So the way the system really plays out is it's incredibly cinematic, and happens in stages. And as things happen, you stack dice, and you have to accomplish all of your stages before the dice tower falls and shit goes crazy, right? But it's literally about putting together a team and then coming up with a plan and then executing that plan through your rolls before the dice tower falls. And it's again the same kind of thing we talked about with Psychers, where it's a contained experience. This is the difference between games that are like frameworks, like Mach Out of Monsters, for example, is a framework. Like Heroes of Cerulean is a game, and it does have a game world, but you could really take that system and kind of play it wherever, right? The Job is the Job. The Job is a game made to run the job, and of course you can maybe like pull the system and do something else out, but it is a contained thing unto itself, and it is so incredibly well done, and it's absolutely stunning. And the book is great too. I love when skinny little books get hardbacks. I don't know what about it, but it's a stunning book.
The thinnest little guy on my bookshelf, you know.
But that is Ruleset. So coming in at number 5, that is Perils and Princesses from Ryan Lynch. That is number 4. There's Heroes of Cerulean from Blackfish Publishing. Number 3, Mach Out of Monsters from Eric Newton from Lost Pages. Number 2, Torque, Will Yobst, Good Luck Press. And number 1, The Job, Andre Novoa, Games Omnivorous. I think that's a good spread. I'm very happy with that, looking at everything that we did. I think those are great.
We got a fat honorable mention coming up for this one.
Oh, bro, fuck off. I totally forgot about this. So, the thing about Ruleset is we gave too many fucking 8s. We have already reorganized our thoughts and the way we're going to review stuff next year because of this, because of these honorable mentions, because we gave too many 8s. So, we gave 1 9, which was The Job, which is like, we've only given 2 10s ever. So, The Job we loved above and beyond anything we could have hoped for, right? But everything else on here got an 8, including all of the ones that are on the screen now, which is 8 of them, and the other 4. So the honorable mentions were Ecomofos from David Blandy and Daniel Luck. We got the Alien RPG from Free League. We got Last Sabbath. We got Cloud Empress. We got Mothership 1E. High Magic Low Lives from Jim Rib Games. We got 3 Die 6. And we got His Majesty the Worm, all of which, on top of Torque, Mach Out of Monsters, Heroes of Cerulean, and Perils and Princesses, all got 8s. And we are going to be a little bit more discerning next year. We have come up with ways to take those 7.5s and make things a little bit different. We're going to do that next year, so we don't have this kind of spread. But let's be completely honest, though. All of these games fuck. Every single fucking one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would play or run every single one of these in a heartbeat, and I think they absolutely deserve the numbers that they got.
I would play or run most of them.
Yep. Originality. So this isn't. Yeah.
We suck. Hey, this is our dumbest category because we're dumb idiots. So
it's just. It's hard. I think it's a good category, and I like that it's nebulous.
It is a good category.
And I like that it's very nebulous, and it's nebulous in that, like, what the fuck is originality, right? But it could be anything. Originality in the art, originality in the layout style. It could be originality in any of the other metrics that we do, but on top of originality in the game world, the game system, any aspect of things that make it different. So the problem when we like, one of the lower scores we gave this year was the Alien RPG, because how do you make a game that already uses a built system, the Year Zero engine, and then have a game that was literally built to emulate a movie have originality?
It's not even like genre emulation. Like Heroes of Cerulean emulates like a vibe of type of game, right? It's not just one game, it's like a section of gaming history. But like the Alien RPG is like, no, it's literally just Alien. Like,
and it does that super well, and that's why we always say don't necessarily only pick the metrics that you like. You know what I mean? If you don't care about that, then fuck it, don't care. But we're only giving that as an example, even though we like the Alien RPG, to be what is more of that. It's kind of easier to say what's not original than in what is original, right? So moving on to originality at number 5, we have Cloud Empress. Tell me about Cloud Empress. So why it's so original?
Listen, Cloud Empress takes place in a weird world of like a post, not quite utopian society, where there are these floating cities that are run by these lordling pieces of shit. Some of them have crashed out, but specifically, the original Cloud Empress release, The Land of Cicadas, takes place at the opening of the summer. In a very special year. During the summer is when people travel and they go on their little adventures, but this is a very special year because it is the like breeding season of the imago. So these giant cicadas with the faces of people are really out in the skies. They're eating up all the chalk, which we all know chalk is comes from bones, and it's how you do magic. It actually comes from the cicadas themselves. There's just so much going on, and you're just like, what the fuck? This is awesome. Hey, listen, if you're a magic user in this world, the moment you lose your wisdom teeth, you can't fucking do magic anymore. There's just so much to it that's like, they're ideas that maybe you've heard before somewhere or not, and they're put together in this setting that flows so well. It's a cool flip of the Panic engine as well, because it really is another of like, you can absolutely do combat, but you should try to solve your problems without it. I love Cloud Empress.
It's so good. It's so good. And again, Watt is such a good person, so it's very easy to support them. And everything that they've put out is awesome. Everything hits. And that's great. Coming in at number 4, we have His Majesty the Worm. His Majesty the Worm. Okay, fuck off. All right. His Majesty the Worm is this is I always fuck up Josh McCrowell. I always want to say McCrew, but that's because that was
you do want to say McCrew. You said it off camera before.
I do, but like I keep talking to people. Like I used to call Charlie Fergus Navy Charlie Furgraves, but it's because that's what their fucking Twitch handle was. So Josh McCrowell, episode 169, His Majesty the Worm. We haven't talked about it yet. We just talked about it in honorable mentions for Ruleset. This is originality, and the thing about His Majesty the Worm is there is some insane originality for a lot of the same reasons Cloud Empress. First of all, the world is really interesting. This is a mega dungeon game where you literally, the entire point is like you go into this thing opens up in the ground, right? And then you realize that it's this giant fucking underworld mega dungeon, and this whole society kind of like this whole society changes to allow or to revolve around adventurers going into this mega dungeon and trying to come back out. But on top, interesting right off the bat, right? A mega dungeon is a game. Then on top of that, the entire game revolves around the use of tarot cards for a bunch of different things, but literally as the core mechanic of the game. And there's most of the tarot stuff you see in TTRPGs, a lot of times it's prompt generation for journaling games and things like that. So to actually use the tarot cards for even things like combat and things like that is crazy and really interesting, really, really well done. But one of my favorite parts is the magic system as well. So when you actually get to sorcery and talk about the effects and the maleficence and all these other things, it's great. And also the lore throughout is just really, really well done. It's an interesting originality built into the way the world works, and how if something like this opened up under a city, how the city would respond to it. Because things like that happen. I mean,
that's definitely my favorite part. Is how what happens in the dungeon and what you bring out can genuinely affect the city.
Well, there's part of the lore literally talks about how there's like a tax on coinage because it can cause inflation or it can collapse the economy if you bring back too much gold. So you literally have to give away 50% of all your gold when you come back, I think is what it was, but not for art pieces and stuff. And it's because the art pieces will beautify the city and the gold will crash the economy. It's just a really clever way to think about it. When I lived in Ireland, we went to visit a town called Dingle, and they had this dolphin in the bay, and the entire town had come to revolve around this fucking dolphin. The dolphin tours, dolphin shops, like it was crazy. And that's just like a tiny itty bit of what would happen if there's literally a mega dungeon opening on your city. But to see a town embrace this one little aspect of like kind of tourism and economy and how it infiltrated, definitely gives me the vibes that this does, again, where everything is now based on this thing that happened. So incredibly original, not only in the lore and the way the game is played, but specifically the tarot cards. Really fun, interesting for sure. At number 3, we got The Job. The Gerb.
Hey, this is a great example of genre emulation done well, because this is referencing a style of like heist story or movie, and even almost has like a mix of like that 60s, like early 70s, like visuals with some kind of like Steven Soderbergh or whatever the name of the director of Ocean's 11 is. Yes. But it's good. Yeah. It feels really good. It does it really well. And like also if you look, like there's a lot of games that have heists in them, but this is a game that revolves completely around the heist. And I think it's great. Yeah.
Everything you just said. I love it. And like I said earlier, the self-contained nature of the fact that, again, this isn't a framework to like start a campaign with. The game is the game. This is the game. And I love that. I love that. And the dice tower and stuff. It's good. It fucks. I mean, honestly, it's from Games Omnivora, so of course it does.
Yeah.
But
that does make sense.
It's also just really fucking good. Number 2. So this is funny because you recommended this to me and I glanced at it and then came back to it later. And then you were like, I wouldn't really want to do this one. And then we eventually got, I think like 3 months later, I read it and was like, holy fuck, we have to do this one. I kept
pushing you for this one until you actually read it and you're like, oh, this is really good. This is great because it's, it's another of like a not quite a PBTA hack, right? It does use mixed success, but you aren't
so for those in podcast land, I don't think we said it yet. What is this?
Oh, this is High Magic, Low Lives, a story about wizard school dropouts robbing the aristocracy, by Jim Room Games. And you can find this on whatever episode we had it on. It's somewhere on this list. There you go. 127?
Yeah. That's what you wrote.
That was really early this year. It is an excellent game where you make a wizard school dropout who comes to realize that like instead of becoming like the force for the aristocracy to squeeze money out of poor people, why don't we just fucking rob the aristocracy, man? It has like a mixed success rules. There are like actual moves in this, but they're very limited and they're only a couple and they're like advanced moves, which I think works really, really well. And I think just the setting and this, like, I don't want to spoil too much about the setting for this because there are some secrets in here that players should know, but it's a fantastic game.
It's a game. I will say, so this is not like, it's a game and you can play the game, right? But it's not necessarily like a complete finished game. Like it exists. There's things to do for it. We have talked to like Jim Games about this a little bit. I got to be completely honest. The 2E of this is probably my most anticipated game. Like, period. Absolutely. Like it's this game is so good. And again, we have our issues with PBTA, but I believe we talked about it in the episode. My biggest issue with PBTA is basic moves. I know how to do basic shit. I don't need you to tell me that I have to do attack. Like, let me do whatever the fuck I want. The advanced moves and using those moves as powers is, in my opinion, the interesting things that you can do with PBTA. And this is exactly what this game does. On top of like, there's all the world itself is weird because you have like cell phones and shit too still, and like it's just such
there's
a
technology.
Fun...
There's magic. Yeah, you driving your car to go rob an ancient vault that's under a building that belongs to an the immortal aristocracy. Sorry, they're also immortal. Yeah, great game.
It's
great concept.
Insane. As far as originality, again, there's a reason it's number 2, right? And then number I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even remember what we said here.
I know what number 1 is. It's fucking Torque.
It's fucking Torque.
By Will Yopes. Yeah, what a great game. What a great what other tabletop RPG are you building your insane car, your weird, fantastic car, and playing essentially a board game with it,
Yeah. There's not, Yeah.
There really isn't anything else like all the other games we've named. There's maybe something that maybe tangentially similar, but like this one really does stand on its own.
Yeah, it really does. Again, like the emulation of a side scroller Mad Max side scroller as a TTRPG is insane. It's insane. So good. So well done. That is Originality at number 5. We have Cloud Empress from Watt. Number 4, we have His Majesty the Worm from Josh McCrowell. Number 3, we have The Job from Andre Naveau of Games Omnivorous. Number 2, we have High Magic Low Lives from Gym Room Games. And at number 1, once again, we have Torque from Will Yopes. Torque. There's a movie called Torque about motorcycle racing, and it's terrible, and I've seen it like 8 times.
Never seen it.
Yeah, it's awful. It's one of those ones where you're like, I just want to watch some trash, and you put that on. So, honorable mentions. In Originality, we have 2 of them. We have Perils and Princesses and Azag. Perils and Princesses, specifically, because it really takes the off. Let's be honest, the post OSR does on the fringes have a little bit of a right-wing problem. Whether that's the fascists and the Nazis.
Are you saying there are Nazis in the space?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a boogeyman than really. Trust me, I've had many more issues with leftist OSRs than I have with right-wing people. But I will say, misogyny rampant, fucking rampant. And I love the concept of taking what is like a post-OSR game, flipping on its head and making it about the princesses saving themselves. I think it's really fantastic. I think it's gorgeous. I think there's a lot of really interesting things they do in game that's neat. And then Azag is another one. Like, if we're just talking about setting, Azag's setting is incredible. The art's incredible. This is from Dank Dungeons. It's a beautiful book. It's an interesting rule set. I mean, even the way that they did, whether I am a huge fan of it or not, I think it's really interesting. A lot of people say there's no rules for like social things. So they turned social into like blackjack, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
And
I was actually sitting here thinking about, I'm like, oh, I have to rewatch this episode because I genuinely don't remember a lot about Azag.
No, yeah.
I'm liking it.
It's great. No, I have two versions of it, but I thought that was really interesting. That's incredibly original. The world, the lore of the world that it's in is really original. It's the game itself is interesting. The rule set is interesting. I think the world might be more interesting than the rule set. This is the kind of game where like you could easily run this with like Varn or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as like how interesting the world is, but the system itself is actually fine to run too. But it's cool as far as originality goes. It's cool, and the cover, one of the best covers in TTRPGs.
Really good cover.
It goes so hard. I
follow that artist on.
Yes, I always forget. I remember the picture. It's like party. They're amazing. If you remember it, let me know so we can shout it out. While you do, I'll talk about value. Value is actually the final metric we have to talk about. So value is bang for your buck. It's just not, because again, this is as much product review as it is game review, right? So it's bang for your buck. It's not just the cost of the games themselves, it's what you get for your money.
Party in the front.
Party in the front. I know there's a party. Character sheets, third-party content, a bunch of content in and of itself, apps, websites, resource pages, all the things that you can do to play the game. Is there more of it? Like how, again, bang for your buck. That is value. So Coming in at number 5, we have Forgotten Ballad. So this is extraordinary. This might be the U.S. game we've ever done.
I picked this game. It was on.
You did.
It was on for me, really, and I did not write down the page for it. The episode number for it, because I'm a bad person. But yeah, Forgotten Ballad. I think the reason it made its way here in value is overall the cost of the book, but really what you get with it, which is the ability to like fairly endlessly generate content to play. The book comes with adventures, and there's also 4 adventures written by the creators that you can find on itch. But other than that, there's role tables that you can use to endlessly generate a bunch of different enemies or dungeons or tools. It's really a very like playable game that would have a lot of life to it.
That's going to be on episode 164.
164. Thanks, Ryan.
I honestly, literally just today discovered that there is a search function on the YouTube pages to find videos. Just discovered that today.
I
Forgot about it.
When you're on a specific channel, or
no, like when you just go, if you just go to the homepage, right at the very top, there's a search bar, and I just searched Forgotten, and it gave me episode Forgotten Ballad. So this was very much a U game. We did this in the same vein. This was the other Zelda game. I feel like when we did these 2 games, it's like, you know, when like a movie comes out, the other studio also does the exact same movie. You know what I mean? Like A Bug's Life came out, and then like a B movie came out or whatever. Like it's like that, you know?
Yeah, this one's definitely the Zelda game. The other one's more of like an early SquareSoft or other JRPG type game that kind of also is in the realm of Zelda. We're talking about Heroes of Cerulean. The Forgotten Ballad is like straight up. It's songs. I mean, you have
music.
Song.
Yeah, you have music as the thing, which what you told me about Zelda is very important in the first like 2/3 of all Zelda games or whatever.
It's amazing that you've never played that and you don't know it.
I think I played a little bit of Link's Awakening, and that's about it. But yeah. So I think this one spoke to you way more because you are, again, a Zelda fanboy, which is totally fine. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just not. So for me, Heroes of Cerulean, where it is kind of themed towards Zelda, right? But is definitely the framework, like you said, of more like maybe early Final Fantasies and stuff like that. Yeah. Spoke to me a lot more. So again, it was really interesting in the two inspirations taken in 2 completely different directions. All right. Coming in at number 4, we got The Job. It's good. It comes with a lot of stuff. I mean, you literally within the game, it is an endless number of possibilities to make your own things. But I think one of the other things about The Job too was it's not expensive at all.
It's very affordable.
It's incredibly affordable. So that was one that was definitely based partly on the cost, because the book is stunning. And it's sold the fuck out now at this point, obviously. I think I bought 2 of them. Did I send you one?
Yes.
Okay. But it's a stunningly gorgeous, small, like hardback book that I think was pretty inexpensive. I mean, we can still find it right now.
I mean, the PDF right now is $7.90. Which is incredibly affordable.
It's dumb not to just spend $8 and fucking get that. PDF is super cheap. The book was relatively inexpensive, and the game itself is endless possibilities, right? So that's one reason it got the value score that it did. Number 3, I'm not even bringing up the fucking PDFs anymore because we've talked about these so much. Heroes of Cerulean. My goodness, do you get just out the ass? Do you get stuff for Heroes of Cerulean? So not only do you get the game, which again in and of itself is so much. You get within the game itself, I believe there's at least 3. I think there's 3 different adventures. You muted.
There's multiple adventures in the book itself.
Yeah. On top of that, one of my favorite parts about Heroes of Cerulean, we didn't talk about this before, is when you get when you get the physical book, there's literally just a small little pamphlet book of just the quick start player facing rules of the game. And that is so nice to be able to have that, because the players don't need any of the rest of the book. And I wish more games did that. Warplane kind of did that with the tangential realities, the little thing. I wish more games would do that, because how many games we've talked about where like this could easily be split into a player section and a GM section. You should just do that, right? 4 adventures in the book, I believe. But on top of that, there was like a bajillion adventures after the fact. I felt like every like 2 weeks for months, I was just getting another adventure from Heroes of Cerulean. So there's insane amount. Also, the community content is opened up, so there's a ton of community content already built. They had on top of that, they had the I believe it was the, what do I have here? The community content like
jam,
like no, like stuff for people. So they literally have templates, logos, like everything possible for free given to people to do stuff with. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the PDF is free, and I believe everything that Blackfish Publishing does, and they're here and they can tell me if I'm wrong, I believe everything that they put out, the PDF is free, and you just pay for the physical if you want. Like, how can you not have a high value on a free game?
Absolutely.
And I say that, and then I'm gonna just double check on Itch to make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. It is free on Itch, so it's a free game. It's one of my favorite games of the year. And you get a ton of content both in the game and beyond the game. That's literally the definition of value for a game. Number 2 is Mothership 1E. Realistically, at the end of the day, the insane pretty box set, like the deluxe, it's like $99.
Yeah.
It's like $99. You get the entire fucking game. You get like 5 zines.
The player's rules are free digitally.
Yeah, player rules are free. The if you want to get the zine of any of the things, the PDF costs the same as just getting the physical zine, so you can just get the physical zine. I mean, the value for what you get with Mothership is insane, because on top of that, you have to add in the third-party content that exists in the world, which is near fucking endless.
I mean, there's so much. I have so much. I have like shelves of Mothership stuff.
And my entire shelf. Yeah,
and a lot of it's like the trifold pamphlets are like $5 or $6 or whatever to get it for a whole adventure. It's like, oh my god, it's insane.
There's an endless amount of content. The book, the core box set itself is for what you get is pretty inexpensive. The game is free, and there's just again endless content and a pretty good third party license. So, and then number 1, Cloud Empress. Again, free game, free fucking game.
Yeah, free game. I think first adventure is free. Like, the PDFs are really affordably priced, and when the box set did come out, it was also incredibly affordable, and it just has a ton of adventures. If you want to get the year 1 bundle, which is all the adventures from the original release, it's only $12 for all of those adventures, and there are not a few of them. There's like 6 or 7.
Yeah, it's crazy. Again, like, I mean, the top 3 like all are free. Like, you can just go, obviously support creators, give them your money if you're able to, but also if you want to play the game, like, talk about like a 0 barrier to entry, you just download it for free, you know? And then there's a million things. Like, it's like Mouse Rider before that. Like, you could play the game forever and never spend a dime. And all of the, especially the top 3 are that. So top 5 in value is Forgotten Ballad. I put Forgotten Ballad. That, I think that's my first typo of the entire thing, and I'm fucking proud of myself. The Job from Games I'm Nervous at number 4, Heroes of Cerulean at number 3, Mothership 1E at number 2, and Cloud Empress at number 1. That's the only time we talked about Mothership this whole time.
So far.
Yeah. And then so we have no honorable mentions because those were all the top scores. So our top 5 overall scores for the year in
that is actually
books.
The only time Mothership is brought up. Actually, I just double checked. So
yeah, no, I put the presentation together. Top 5 overall games of the year with the scores are as follows. At number 5, Torque with a 39.
Woo.
I don't remember the rest. So number 9 on art and layout, 7 on usability. Honestly, if it had a pages version, that probably get up, because I think we were both peeved at having to read it on an iPad and scroll back and forth the entire time.
Yes, I was.
8 for Ruleset, 9 for Originality, 6 for Value, and I think value is what dipped it out. There's just not more to it. The game, it's like $40 for the game. The thing. All right. Coming in at number 4, Perils and Princesses got a 40. It was a 98887 for them across the board. Again, love this game, really fantastic. Coming in at number 3 for us, The Job, 41 overall. As soon as you hit the 40s, you're in like, you know, top tier for what we've done.
Rare
As if
by
our
there.
opinion, as in our opinion, fucking matters to anyone out there. But
hey, it matters to us, and that's all this show is about.
97988 for that for The Job. And then our number 2. Number 2, Cloud Empress, also with a 41. And Cloud Empress got 88889. Talk about fucking consistency across the board.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about. Is like we might give something like a 10, right? And then but it could have a 7 in something else. That's why we say also multiple times, only look at the metrics that fucking matter to you. The total score is cool or whatever to see a quantification. But sometimes you get a game like this where it is just peak across the board all the way across the top. And for number 1 for that to fit into that this year was Heroes of Cerulean. It's a 42. Heroes of Cerulean got a 9 in art and layout. It got a 9 in usability. It got an 8 in rule set, a 7 in originality, and a 9 in value for 42. Considering the highest score we've ever given out is a 44, which could probably be modified. It is probably one of the highest scores we've ever given out, and I'm very happy with that. I think this is a insanely not only is it a fantastic game, it is such an insanely good product.
Yeah, like, I agree. It's a pleasure to like receive it and hold it.
Oh my god,
you know?
Bro, the book is gorgeous. The nostalgia you get hit with when you feel the imprints of like the game cartridge, the player pamphlet, the gold cartridge version, and then on top of that, Blackfish Publishing, like literally making everything that they ever make free for people to have. Like it's just a good, like it's just good. Like that again, the highest score he gave out our year was Heroes of Cerulean. Top 5, Torque.
Pull up that scoreboard.
Yeah. Torque at number 5 with a 39. Perils and Princesses at number 4 with a 40. The Job at number 3 with a 41. Cloud Empress at number 2 with a 41. And Heroes of Cerulean at number 1 with a 42. I'm very happy with this. I think that's exactly where they all fit for me. Yeah. And yeah. I honestly, the only one I think would wiggle at all would be Torque. And that would be just with if there was like if they put out like an expansion to Torque,
more content of some kind.
Yeah, that I think that number would jump into the 40s easy. I think that's the one that really had any mobility. But I think that's a great spread. I really like this a lot. Honorable mentions. Both of these got 39s, which does tie the bottom number, but didn't quite make it. That is Eco Mofos, fantastic game from David Blandy and Daniel Locke, and Last Sabbath. Once again, the only 10 that we gave out in all of books was art and layout for Last Sabbath. Absolutely deserved. It's basically a Laputin art book, and it's stunning and gorgeous. Next we have, and that is the scores. That is the scores we gave out. We have our personal top 5, starting with Hunter. What do we got?
Yeah, personal top 5. Number 5 is coming in at High Magic, Low Lives. Obviously a game that I pitched to Ryan, and I'm very excited about. I love the idea of playing as like underground wizards in the modern day, robbing from the rich and shooting CEOs on the streets of New York. You know?
Gym Room Games slaps. Like everything they do is so fucking good.
I think they made my favorite game last year too, which was
Nine Lives Valhalla.
Yeah, Nine Lives Valhalla. God, I love Nine Lives Valhalla.
You know what we're gonna do this year?
No,
Duckborg.
Oh, I haven't read that one. So is that?
Oh, it's Gym Room Games put out Duckborg. Yep.
Okay, I mean
we're gonna go over that.
Yeah, I'm obviously a big fan of Gym Room Games. Moving on to number 4, we have another one that I pitched this year, Forgotten Ballad by Felipe da Silva. Obviously the Zelda game of Zelda games. Even the art is very referential. I love the ability to like play music and that be your magic. And I like the system for rolling like the notes die and then like picking from those dice effects that happen. Moving on. Number 3 is The Job. I love a good heist. I love a heist movie. I love a heist game. very much a fan of this. I actually was supposed to run this past weekend, and that fell through. And I'm very disappointed about that. But I'm looking forward to running it here pretty soon.
You know what you've never done?
What?
Run a game on the fucking show.
That's so true. I never have because I'm afraid to. Honestly, it scares me. So
I honestly don't know if I've ever run a game on this show. But I did run years of campaigns on the channel. Just not on this podcast. All right,
number 2 is of course Torque. I've been so excited about this whole time. I just think this is genuinely like a great experience. I think it's a great product. I loved going through it, and I really look forward to playing this and making my fiance play it with me. And moving on to my number 1, I've cheered it every time it's come on screen, so I'm sure no fucking shocker here. My number 1 book is Cloud Empress. I love Cloud Empress. It is without a doubt my favorite project that's come out in the past year. We have it set at my table to play this when summer comes around. I'm in the Pacific Northwest where it's very rainy and dark. But the moment the season changes, we're going to play this because that's what this game is also about. I just love it. I like the mothership mechanics. I like how it's hacked. I love the setting. I'm a big fan of Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind, which is this very much is references here and there a little bit. It's fun and weird. So my top 5 overall are coming in at a High Magical Lives number 5, Forgotten Ballad number 4, The Job number 3, Torque number 2, and number 1, Cloud Empress. I do have an honorable mention. Because it's a great game. My honorable mention is Eco Mofos. Obviously, if you watch the show, you know that I'm a big, like, into the odd-esque person, and also like weird fantasy and like science fantasy. And this really, scratches that itch for me. I really do enjoy this game. I think also visually going through this book is really enjoyable. So, it's right here. Look at this. Actually, cut next to me.
Boom. Daniel Locke's art is insane, and I definitely got all 3 different cover variations because, like, of course I fucking did, and worth every fucking one. I
also really love that this book opens up with like a comic book about an adventure that also references the rules as you go through. Amazing,
so good. So it's just so good. Like, it's so intentional and good the whole way through. It really is a fantastic game. And then we got my top 5. My top 5 of the year. I don't even remember what they are. Let's see. Coming in at number 5 for me is Heroes of Cerulean. Love this game. I think it is unquestionably, in my opinion, the best product of the year. For me, it's obviously in my top 5 games of the year. What puts it lower in the top 5 is, although I love the rules, I think they're incredible. I think they're simple, not in a bad way. They're just like straightforward. They're easy to parse. I do like, for me personally, just a little bit more complexity. But I think that they are perfect for what they are and for what their intent is. But I do genuinely think that unquestionably this is the best product of the year, top to bottom, both in value and like the actual physical. It is one of the best physical Kickstarter rewards I've ever received. Not a single second of disappointment, and literally just joyful glee the entire time I flipped through it. And when I pulled the gold one out of the sleeve, out of the jacket, like it's just so good. Unquestionably the best product, one of my favorite games. That would be Heroes of Cerulean. Coming in number 4 is Macchiato of Monsters. Again, like, to me, this is a super underrated game. I'm a systems guy. I really, really, really am a systems guy. I love mechanics. I love digging through mechanics and playing with mechanics and trying to understand mechanics. And Macchiato of Monsters is such a good mashup of 2 games. And to make something better, in the same vein, like I said, with Nuked, it's one of the best hacks I've ever read. It does such a good job of mixing and matching parts to create this completely new thing. That is just so incredibly well done. I just really, really, really love the system of this, and that really takes it over the top for me for putting it into my top 5. Number 3, Perils and Princesses. I love this game. I don't know. Game? I do. I don't know what it is about it. I know that you don't love it as much as I do, but it's like just something. Yeah, you like it fine. I fucking love it. Like, that's the difference. I genuinely think if you just took the quick start rules and use that as a framework to run any, post OSR game you want, everyone would be fucking happy with it. But between the stunning art, the beautiful graphic design layout, again, the kind of like flip of expectations in it with the princesses saving themselves, the abilities, the classes, like everything about this game is amazing. And again, the system itself I find incredibly enjoyable, brutal, dark, and the combination of that mixed with the princesses, I don't know, something about it. And like the physical book is actually a really, really nice printing too. And they had another Kickstarter, the Sweet Revenge Kickstarter, so there's gonna be more content coming out for it. It's great. I really enjoy the game and I really like the system. Number 2, Torque. I mean, great game. We talked about it. Like, again, Mad Max, the side scroller RPG, really just does it for me. And that just scratches the surface of how good the fucking game was. Like,
Yeah.
I highly recommend buying it, reading it, watching our episode. And just getting everything from Will Press. Like, Will, good person, great person. And obviously like an incredibly talented, intelligent, clever game designer. Torque is just so fucking good. And number 1, I don't remember The Job for me. The Job. I don't even fucking like heist games. I don't like heists. I hate running heists, and I love this game so much. I think the intentionality, I think every aspect of what you want in a game, this game takes, cranks it to 11, right? The graphic design, insane. The rule set, absolutely incredible. Like, what I don't like about heists is what this game does the exact opposite of, right? Like, everything I want from a heist, I've never played a game where I've done a heist and I enjoyed it. This actually, like, planning the adventure and putting the team together and doing all that stuff together is the part of the heist that I want to enjoy. I don't want to just have like an OSR system, a post OSR system, and then just be like, okay, go rob shit with it, right? And we'll just make it up as we go. No, this game is incredibly intentional about what it does. So the art is amazing, the graphic design is amazing, the rule set's amazing, the book is gorgeous, it feels great. I mean, everything about this game, it just does it for me. I love it. It's fantastic. So my top 5 are Heroes of Cerulean, Macchiato Monsters, Perils and Princesses, Torque, and The Job, which is not your top 5. I think there's one that's the same.
We have Torque in the same spot.
I think that's it. Yeah. Is it everything else different? That's crazy.
I have The Job at number 3.
Okay, so we have 2 out of 5. We have and only 1 in the same spot. And then one thing I didn't tell you about, but we're talking about it here. Surprised you're not here today, but top supporter of the year, unquestionably, that's going to be Insane Ozo. Yeah. Again, shocked that they're not here, but the person who is
the one time they're not here,
right? They have been, for some fucking reason, a fan of ours for so long. I can't even remember when. They're in almost every single episode, supporting, cheering, sharing our stuff on social media, following us on everything, commenting on all of our videos. Insane Ozo, we just want to say we appreciate you so much. We enjoy your conversations in the chat. We again, thank you so much for all the support that you've given us. I'm actually I have your address from a giveaway that you won, because I think you've won a bunch because you're always fucking here. I'll be sending you something very small in the mail as a token of our appreciation. So expect that whenever my ADHD lets me go to the post office. But I'm going to send you a little something just as a very small token of appreciation for all the support that you've given us here on the show. And we thank you very, very much.
Yeah, we love you. We're actually your fans. We're right. Now.
Oh. We're gonna have like a weekly scroll Insane Ozo shirt made.
I really want an Insane Ozo shirt, actually.
Just Ozo across the thing. Let's do it. A last scroll. That's it. We did it in less than 3 hours, 2:15. But like, take 20 off for the pre-stream. We're at like 2 hours. I'm happy.
Oh, look at us.
The future of the weekly scroll. So,
that's it. This is the last episode, y'all. No surprise.
We're
now.
done.
Bye.
Yeah, we didn't want to. We've talked about it a bunch. We're done. We're out of here.
There's no more games.
No. So this year it was a good year, but honestly, gotta say, Zine Quest at the beginning of the year I think kind of burned us out. We did so many episodes. Again, if we added all that together, that's way more than one episode per year, per week. Although we do love doing interviews, I honestly think that they just burn us out a little bit more. The scheduling, we've met some amazing people. We want to continue to do them, but we're going to do far fewer of them. If you want to come on the show, run a game. We'll be happy to play games with you. But We're going to do fewer interviews and we're going to do more games. We want to get back to 35. My goal is to break 40 games next year, to do at least 3 a month plus our Jert episode. Maybe have some like guest people come on days when Hunter's not available to do some extra bonus games if we want. And that's really what we want to do, is not really change more of what we're doing. We just want to do more of the things we liked and less of the things that we were less of a fan of, right? More game reviews, more actual plays, fewer interviews, more guests coming on. We've talked about numerous times, we've talked about having like panels. There's been multiple times that we wanted to bring not only a group of people together to talk about a game, but also have 3 or even 4 people on to review a game. I have a whole window set up to bring like Christian or somebody on, so we could have 3 people talking. The game, it would be like an hour longer because we would argue the whole time, but I think it'd be fun to just switch it up a little bit more. Again, bring on more guest people. We had more guests, I think, the year before, but that's because you were more unavailable with your schedule, so I had to like find people. So it's great to be able to do them with you, but I think we should both bring on more guest people. I think having both of us on and having a guest reviewer with us would be really fun. So that's my goals for the year, is to more APs, more guests, more variety. We've talked about doing some other special episodes, and just maxing out the number of reviews we can do. What about you? What are you hoping for 2025?
I just want to read and play more games. Did I freeze? Oh, I did freeze. Well, I'm back now. Yeah, I just want to read and play games. I don't. I know did we talk about the change in reviews?
Oh no, just that we're going to. We have from 5 up, we have delineated a little bit more. So expect a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? Like your camera's like all zoomed in now.
I know. I don't know what's going on.
A little bit more you're not gonna have like 9 8s. Yeah, discerning. We're not gonna have 9 8s next year. We're really gonna tweak that into 7s and 8s and 9s. So yeah, again, more of what we're doing, and not just be like, hey, I'm tired, let's skip this episode, like more doing the episodes, more having guests, and more APs and reviews, and that's it. So thank you to everyone that was in chat with us. We really appreciate all of you. Thank you to everyone who made all the wonderful games we got to review this year. I hope we said nice things to most of you, and that you enjoyed what we did, and that we didn't turn any of you away from being our friends. And yeah, we appreciate all the support that we get. Again, Insane Ozo, #1. Love you, buddy. But we appreciate all the support that we get, whether you're listening on the podcast or you're watching on YouTube. It means a lot. We got to meet a couple people that actually knew us at PAX. And cool. I will never not have imposter syndrome. I will always believe that all of our metrics are fake, and that we're just like bots and no one actually watches us or cares about what we say. But it's really cool to hear that some people do. And that's what I got, buddy. It was a good fucking year. I think we had fun.
A great year. Here's to 2025, a year that sounds like it's out of science fiction.
It does. 2024 didn't quite sound it, but 2025 really does feel like the future.
In the future of 2025.
Yeah, 2000 was like just last year. But let's. I think that's about it. That's our entire year-end review of 2024. Again, comment below. Anyone that's watching, make sure you follow all of our shit. By next year, I'm gonna get this fucking Twitter bird off of our shit and make it a little butterfly or whatever. Because we don't use our Twitter account anymore. It still exists, but I deleted Twitter off my phone. So we are strictly on Blue Sky. We're skeeting over there.
Skeeting on Blue Sky.
Skeet. And there was something else I was going to say. If there are any games that you would like to see in 2025, please comment below.
Yeah.
Also, anyone that wants us to review your games, don't send us review copies. We do not accept them. Just let us know about your game, and we'll just pay for it.
Because we'll buy it. So
that's what we want to do. Support for games is not just in promotion or review. We also want to financially support you as well. So if you would like your game reviewed, shoot us an email. It is on our link tree. But specifically, if you have games you want to see reviewed, drop them below. If it is a hack of a thing we've already reviewed 18 times, it's probably not going to happen. But we'll check it out. Yeah, we do have a list already built to start the year with, and we'll go from there. But I'm going to ramble my way for another half an hour. So I'm just going to say 2024, thank you. It's been great. Hunter, mwah. We'll see you Friday. We're literally just going to kick it off. Yeah.
In a new year.
In a new year. Bye, everybody.
Bye.